Hey guys, this is Shane, or some of you may know me as Deputy 865 on the forums or other various pages. And what you're looking at now is the business end of a rifle that I have gotten numerous requests to do an overview on. So without further ado, I am pleased to present you my BAR10. This overview is going to be done in chapters, so if you don't want to watch the whole thing and you just want to skip ahead to a specific section or just the shooting video, feel free to check the description below and I will have the times of each chapter of this entire overview so you can go ahead and skip ahead. The first chapter will be a complete overview of the gun from internals to externals. To begin the overview, I'm going to tell you guys a little bit about the thing that stands out most about this rifle, and that would be this rather large suppressor. Typically airsoft players are used to seeing suppressors, but most of them are either not functional and they're definitely not this big. This specific suppressor was built by me, and I'm not going to tell you guys how I built it, but I will say that it is extremely functional and that it is 20 inches in length. It is also a two-piece suppressor too, and I think that's what really makes it do its job the best. But you can kind of see the tip of it right now is not the usual tip that I used. My original tip broke during gameplay, so I've got a temporary one in there, so that's why it kind of looks ugly. But there is the suppressor. Next, we might as well continue on with the externals of the gun. Now you'll notice that this gun does have some beauty marks, and that is mostly because this gun was built to be played with and not to just sit in a showroom or a trophy case. I use this gun quite frequently, and I absolutely love it. And the reason why it has so many beauty marks on it is I only paint it once a year, and that's at the beginning of the season, and I just let it collect every single mark that it wants to. Secondly, you'll notice it's got a quite a big scope on it. It is a 50mm scope, and it can go from 3 to 9 power zoom. It does illuminate, but I see no reason to use it. This specific scope was not very expensive. I think I picked it up for $50 or $60 off of eBay, believe it or not. And it actually picks up quite a bit of light, obviously being a 50mm, but it does pick up a lot of light. I did use this rifle during a night op one year, and it was a full moon out that night, but I was still able to actually use it even though it was dark out. So that was pretty fun. Other than that, the externals are completely stock, and this gun actually originated as a JG BAR10, and I chose the JG over the Tokyo Marui mainly because I like the matte finish the JG already had over the more glossy finish that the TM model had. And the only other thing that I have done to this rifle would be a kind of a do-it-yourself mod in the stock. And inside the stock, I've got it packed full of insulation to kind of serve as some sound deadening and take care of some noise. So other than that, besides the scope and the suppressor, it looks like a completely stock JG BAR10, except for it's quite a monster in its own. So now we'll go ahead and we'll talk about what makes this gun the monster it is. Before I get into that, I will go ahead and give you the statistics on this, the most important things and what everybody likes to hear about a gun. I just had this chronoed a week ago, and I was proud to say that it shot 436 feet per second using those .4 Mad Bull BBs. Now I understand that it's quite hot for an airsoft gun, and this gun really doesn't see any normal games. It really only sees a few private games, and even when I do get to play with private games, I've got quite an engagement distance. So rest assured, I am pretty safe with this gun. I know what it can do, and I've seen what airsoft guns can do in the wrong hands, especially powerful ones. So the biggest piece about this gun and what kind of holds it all together is the trigger. This isn't a PDI trigger or a Lalax trigger. This is actually a newbie's M trigger, and not everybody knows exactly what that is, but a guy who goes by the name of Newbie created I think 6 versions of this trigger, and this is actually the most recent version of the trigger. And but he made these out of his garage, from my understanding, and they are extremely strong. And from what I've read and what I've heard from everybody else is that they can handle a more powerful spring than any other of the triggers available for this model of gun. So I was quite lucky to get a hold of this, and I I'm glad that I do have it, because I've probably put well over 2,000 rounds through this rifle, and this trigger hasn't even come near close to breaking. So it's held up this whole time. Going into the internals, it is the stock cylinder of the JG BAR10. I saw no reason to change it out. It works just fine. And we'll start from the back. The spring guide is a PDI spring guide. I really do enjoy it. It's obviously full metal and very, very sturdy. The only complaint I have about it is that it is two-piece, and I've been meaning to adhere the two pieces together. I just haven't gotten around to it. And the only reason I say that is an issue is because the vibrations from this gun will cause the back half of the spring guide to come apart from the front half. And what that does is it just kind of pushes everything away, and what basically that means for the shooter is that you can't shoot your gun. You won't even be able to rack it back. So I know that's when I have a problem, is when I go to rack it back and the trigger doesn't catch the piston. Then I know that that spring guide has come apart. So all I have to do is tear the gun apart, pull the cylinder out, and just tighten the spring guide back up. Next would be the spring, what powers the whole thing. It is a PDI SPR 300% spring. I can't remember off the top of my head what that spring is rated at, but obviously given the numbers that I just did to you, that 436 feet per second, it's quite a powerful spring. And actually, I'm a pretty built person. I mean, I'm not extremely strong by any means, but I'm definitely average or a little above, and I have a hard time racking this thing back. So usually when I'm playing with it, I'll drive the stock into my hip, so it'll kind of give me some leverage and assist me into pulling it back. Definitely not a spring that you can just lay down in the prone position and just pull it back and let loose round after round after round. It's an extremely powerful spring, so those of you who are thinking of getting a spring this powerful, please keep in mind that as fun as it is to have a powerful spring, you still have to yank that thing back. So that's the spring. The piston is actually a Lilacs Silent Orange piston with the air brake deleted. I know you're not really supposed to mix PDI and Lilacs parts. You know, most people kind of stick to one brand. However, it is the only piston that I was able to find in stock at the time that was a 90-degree piston. So I threw it in anyway, and it's turned out to work just fine, and I absolutely love it. In front of the piston is a PDI tapered cylinder head. I'm sure some of you have seen that before, especially if you are into sniper rifles. You might have seen this, but basically what makes this so special is that the inside of the cylinder is tapered, so it kind of directs the airflow forward and is supposed to give you a little bit more FPS out of the entire build. No problems with it, works wonderfully. I just put a little Teflon tape around the threads just for an extra seal, and it's good to go, easy to install, easy to take out. Moving forward to the other half of the operation would be the hop-up. I have a PDI version 2 hop-up chamber. Now I'm kind of going back and forth between a few different hop-up setups, but currently the way it sits, it has a PDI Raven 6.01 type bore barrel in it that doesn't go throughout the entire suppressor. It's actually stock length barrel, and it also has a PDI W hold bucking. Now this setup is starting to get, it's old, it's definitely worn down. I've been meaning to change it up. I'm considering going with a wide bore barrel after seeing what the Polar Star users are getting out of them. And I've considered doing a bunch of things, but I'm thinking I'm going to try a different type bore barrel, a different bucking, and I definitely want to do the top dead center hop-up do-it-yourself mod, which for those of you who don't know, you basically screw a screw head or anything you want through the top of the barrel there, and you adjust the hop-up through the screw on top, and it's supposed to be a little bit more consistent of a hop. I don't have too many complaints about the PDI version 2 chamber. I think it's a little not enough, let's just say, for this gun. It shoots very well though. I've made a couple of 300-foot shots, which I will actually provide to you in this video, and you know, it works fine, but it's 2 or 3 years old now, and I think it's time for a change. So those are all the internals. There's nothing else special. I really only have one magazine for it, 26 round mag, and I shoot the Mad Bull .4s out of it. The only reason I've chosen the 4s is because at the time I bought a bunch of these, it was the only light colored sniper BB out there. I like to be able to see my BBs when I shoot. I don't care if other players can see them or not. I like to see them so I know where I'm shooting. But now that I've heard rumors of the .66 gram BBs being out and other sniper grade BBs being out in lighter colors, I definitely think this rifle deserves a little bit heavier round, at least a .43. So those are the externals, the externals and the internals of this BAR10. Next, I will go ahead and perform a shooting test to show you guys just how quiet this gun can be. Okay guys, this is the little shooting test to show you how quiet this gun is. I'm only going to be standing and shooting about 10 yards, give or take, away from the camera. So hopefully you'll be able to kind of get a good idea about how quiet this gun is. So I'm hoping it's going to work. I know that cameras can sometimes amplify sound, so we'll go ahead and see how it works. But I can promise you that when you are getting shot at with this rifle, the only thing you're going to hear is the sound of the .4 gram whipping through the air. So here we go. Alright guys, so there you have it, an external, internal, and a little show of how the suppressor works. Next I'm going to go ahead and show you guys a video of a successful 300-foot shot I made, and actually this shot was made on my sister. She so graciously volunteered herself to kind of be my target for the next, for the shoot. I will say though, I was trying a different hop-up setup when I was doing that video, and that was the first day I'd ever tried it. And what I was using was, I was actually using the barrel out of my DMR, which is an AEG barrel, because you have to use the AEG barrels with the PDI hop-up chamber. But I was using my IER hopped barrel out of my DMR, and it worked really well for the first few shots, and then it started to kind of fall apart on me, and I found out why. As you can see in the picture, I ended up putting a hole in the hop-up patch, so I started losing some velocity, and it just had all sorts of trouble throughout the day. But right now I'm back to the setup I am. But so during the video you are going to see that other hop-up that I was using. But I did measure out 300 feet exactly, so it is a 100-yard shot, and it was quite fun to do. We actually tried to go for 325 feet, and I thought I had hit her, but under closer inspection with the video, the BB bounced right at her feet and jumped up and hit her in the knee. I had plenty of shots that came close to her, but the gun started to jam up on me, mostly probably because the hop-up started to break down, and I just kind of had all sorts of problems. So I called it a day, threw that hop-up out, and put the current one back in. So thanks for watching. Enjoy the shooting video. Okay, so chapter 2 is a look at the range. Right now you see my sister, who is in the bright fluorescent yellow color, and my girlfriend in the blue. They're walking down to the end of the range. My sister in the fluorescent yellow has actually volunteered to be my target for all of this, fortunately. So anyway, what we're looking at is the range. Right now you see the tape measure all the way from where I'm going to be shooting right here. Let's see if you can see it. Right there you can see says 101 feet. So I'm shooting from 100 feet from here to that bottle right there is 100 feet. Now where they're walking has been measured out all the way to 300 feet. So we're making a 100-yard shot. Now, as stated in the overview of my gun, this is kind of a relatively new barrel system I have going on in my gun. So BBs might fly off a couple of which ways, but it's shooting pretty good. It's about 60 degrees out and there is no wind. Hopefully my dogs will move. It looks like my sister's ready to be shot at. So hopefully we'll be able to pick up the BBs. So let's look at the range. Stand right next to the. You're gonna stand right next to it there.
Okay. What side?
Doesn't matter.
Jack is doing circles in front of me.
I'm gonna do my video on this one right now.
All right, so we are walking the 300 feet to the garbage area where you will stand prior to being shot by Shane. Lewis. He's gonna have to like sound edit all of this nonsense out.
Yeah.
Mute. There's Grandpa covering up his wood. Jack, you're a celebrity.
Jack, come here. These things feel too loose now.
You can tighten it up. Okay. This is Paige. Paige is Shane's sister. She's gonna be shot today. Don't worry, it won't hurt too much.
Alright, so the way the shooting videos are going to work is I'm going to show you each shot. I'm going to first show you the shot from my end, and then following the shot from my end, I will show you the same shot except for you from the camera angle on my sister's end. And if you turn your volume up just a little bit, you should be able to hear my gun shoot in the background. It'll sound kind of like a snap. So enjoy the shooting videos. Just one more thing. I do want to add that I understand this isn't 100% accurate. This is a new hop-up setup for me. I am never using it again because it wasn't nearly good enough for what I wanted. This is just simply showing you what my gun can do. I'm hoping in the future to be able to shoot up to 325 feet, and then I'll go up to 350, and I'll just keep going up until I can't hit anything anymore. I do want to let you all know, though, that when I was shooting, I wasn't shooting above. I wasn't aiming above her. I wasn't aiming in any other direction. I was aiming directly at her in center mass. So these BBs are pretty much flying straight the whole way with very little hop. Thanks. Playing with the hop up still. There we go. Nope. Almost to the right again. Now I'm aiming right at her. I'm not aiming above or anything else.
Did they hit you? No.
That one went right past her arm. We're getting there.
That was closer.
That one hit the trash can. There we go. Oh, it went right over her head.
I felt that.
Did it hit you?
It hit like right here.
There we go.
Oh!